Hey all, welcome back to another episode of In the Face of. I'm Gio Winchurch, and with me today I've got
Alex Wallace.
and today we're going to be in the face of fake naturals,
So, another topic, episode 2.
episode 2.
So, today we're going to be talking about fake naturals. It's
Right.
something that's quite big for us as bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Something that's quite important, I feel, and I think it's a really good way of starting episode 2 of our podcast. Cool. So, first thing, obviously, we're going to talk about is fake naturals. This idea of people naturally getting to like these levels of bodybuilding where they're absolutely massive and claiming, obviously, it's without steroids. What do you think?
Well, when you use the term natural, put big quotation marks on the word natural. So
Not using steroids. That
Exactly.
is natural.
So let's just go over what it means quickly, just for you, those of you out there who might, go to the gym every so often, and you might see it in the media, on Instagram, TikTok, or whatever. Fake naturals or fake natty, what does that mean? Well, essentially what it means is an individual who is hiding their use of anabolic steroids. So anyone that is using performance enhancing drugs to help them, boost their levels in the gym gets their numbers up to an unnatural level. You ever had a mate go to the gym one week and they're benching, 80 kgs, and the week later they're benching 90 or 100?
Oh, that's me, mate.
That's just good.
Not yet. I'm getting there.
Oh yeah. But definitely something like that does raise suspicion, and then you may ask them, "Oh, are you natural?" And they say yes. Or that's more of like lower end where it's not so much a bigger deal. Someone might be lying to your face, and then you've got people with millions of followers out there, and these are the people we'll be talking about a little bit more today, who will then go out and say, "Oh yeah, I'm natural," claiming natural, but they are so clearly on performance enhancing drugs. You can see all the symptoms of it, and
Got muscles, bigger than you can even reach round. You couldn't even give them a hug,
yeah, it's and that's sort of what we want to talk about today.
Episode 2. Here we go. Let's delve in. So, what do you think that it means for you? Like the impact on seeing people. If you're, let's say, for instance, you're just starting out in the gym, just sort of going for it, and you think, right, I'm going to change my life around. I'm going to be shredded, and whatever you want to call it. And you look online and you see somebody that's like that size and that level, what it must do to you mentally to think like, you then think, if I train for 2-3 years, I'm going to look like this. And that's the sort of mindset that it kind of gives you, I think. And I think that's probably like the main topic, the main cause of the problem is this idea that social media portrays people and saying, hey, anyone can look like this. And it's just simply not true.
I completely agree with you, especially when you're looking on social media and you are just starting out in the gym, and it can be quite hard as well starting out in the gym. There's a lot of my friends now and people I've met along my journey who were incredibly anxious when they first started out. It's always a good topic to share with people, especially when you're new to the gym. If you are experienced and you do see people in there, sometimes it's nice to go in and just have a bit of a chat with them, because it makes them feel good about themselves. I know with yourself, you didn't really know what you were doing when you started.
Oh no, it's all failing and learning. Falling up the stairs. That's what you gotta do. Fall up the stairs, not down.
And that's it. And you should you see it all over social media. You see these individuals going around with these godlike physiques, like Greek statues, where they're chiseled and they look insane. It's something, like Greek mythology, they look like gods.
Total Adonis culture thing where...
That's not me saying those physiques cannot be claimed naturally, and we can talk about that a little bit later on. It's just, to begin with, I want to say that a lot of the content you see online, when, people will go around saying they're natural, or maybe they're not, or their brands promoting these individuals that they're natural, they go to the gym just like you, they might be having a healthy diet, they might not drink or whatever. They're essentially lying to push their products out, to make people pay more for what it is they're selling. But I think for when you're first starting out, it can distort your image of
manipulating.
Yeah, sort of.
Because this whole idea that if you go on YouTube and you see all these people going, hey, you can be like me. Yeah. And that's essentially what they're portraying. While they're getting, supported by certain sports brands and stuff. And
buy my supplements. Look,
buy my supplements, or you could buy creatine and all these other things. And this sports brand is, supporting me and paying me to go on and say, listen, you can all be like me.
Yeah.
Essentially, these sports brands, a lot of the time, are paying these influencers to give out false information. If you've seen some of the videos, some of them are quite funny, of these bodybuilders who just seem like they've got no idea what they're talking about. They're not trained PTs, they're not trained nutritionists, and they're giving advice, and they're saying, this advice is going to make you be strong as I am, be a god. And it's just not true.
There's a lot of
people they don't really seem to know.
And that's another thing, with social media. You have these individuals that go out there pretending that they've or pretending they know what they're talking about. There's so much misinformation out on the internet, you know, with diet and sleep, and especially when it comes to being a natty or, you know, or not. being natty or not.
I love that word. Being natty.
Yeah, being natty.
Being natty.
Yeah. So there's a big thing out there on being natural or not. And I think for people, you know, you're going to the gym, you're new to the gym, just stick, you know, don't compare yourself as well to the people out there. People compare themselves to people.
You're always just going to do it naturally. It's one of those things.
That's natural.
You're gonna yeah, that is natural. But you're gonna do it. You're gonna see somebody else, and you're gonna go, I want to, you know, it's like a challenge to work towards almost. But you shouldn't do it in the sense that you look and going like, oh, they've done it, you know, in such a time, I need to do it. You shouldn't base the actual training aspect on anyone else, because it's genetics, food, sleep. There's very, very small things that would tweak, that would drastically change.
There's so many things, and there's a few things you mentioned there which are really good, you know, especially genetics. That plays a huge part in, you know, your, as an individual, when you're training, and, you know, and that's it, you know, when you're comparing yourself to someone else, it's never gonna work, because you're never gonna get.
Yeah, you might end up 10 times better. You might end up 10 times worse. You can't control that, can you?
No.
But looking at like these steroid users and stuff like that, and obviously people looking and saying, hey, you know, I want to be on that level. Yeah. Like in terms of like steroid use, what is the damage overall that these people are going to be doing to themselves? A lot of these influencers who are using things like Tren and stuff like that, creating this fake.
Tren is like the hot topic, or the hot steroid at the moment. You hear it all the time. You've got 16, 17-year-olds or whatever, or, you know, young individuals going to the gym, and, you know, the go-to steroid at the moment, or the hot juice, or whatever they like to call it.
Hot juice?
I don't know what they call it, but it's Trenbolone, right? And Trenbolone, there are like 3 forms, I think, available at the moment, which you've got like, I'm not even going to go into it, but essentially this steroid isn't even created for human consumption or human use. It's made for cattle to retain their muscle mass when they're being ported from one country to another.
Oh my God, it's not for people?
No.
Gosh.
But Trenbolone itself, and in comparison to some of the other anabolic steroids out there, so that, you know, like TRT and HRT, which are safe for humans to use, which normally can be prescribed by doctors in some countries and other things, right? These can be beneficial for people, especially if you've got low tests, or which test is testosterone. I might say that quite a bit.
Kids going through puberty might not be able to have the amount. Doctors will prescribe it. So there is a pharmaceutical reason for why
there are pharmaceutical, but
it's not just for the not just for the sake of going, hey, I'll just inject this.
Injecting Trenbolone, it is one of the most poisonous chemical. Well, it's one of the worst compounds you could put in your body, really. And I think again, without going into the boring science of everything, because we want to keep it a little bit lighthearted and we don't want to make it sound so mundane, but it is so damaging, you know, seeing these young individuals. And there's people I've met, and there's people that we know who have gone down that path, and they've decided to get that path, and they're on the other end of it, or when they come off it, they're miserable. And people, I think, don't think for the long term. You know, you want to look good, but do you also want to live a long life? You know,
it's about being healthy, isn't it? Sort of, it spirals together. Is this idea of being healthier and looking good will correlate with itself, and this idea about Tren, the minute you add steroids in there and you take away the health aspect, does the looking good really, does it really stay there? You know, when you see all these massive blokes, they've got these massive veins, does it really look good?
And again, it depends on what the individual's doing it for. So let's say you get, I don't know, so some lean 5'8" guy who's never been to the gym before. He might have a bit of belly fat, and he goes to the gym, and he's on an okay diet. You know, he has like a cheap meal here and there. You know,
but overall he's quite healthy.
Yeah, and he goes out on with you know, on a drink and every now and then. You know, so this individual, he eats quite healthy, and he trains maybe 3-4 days a week. This is typically the normal gym goer, right? Within a year or two, he will notice not substantial changes as someone who would drastically change their diet and train those, but he'll notice quite a bit of a change with his body, right? And what you can do at that point is, when you're eating enough food and then you're stripping that all off, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, damn, I look good. Now, that's after maybe a year or two of training. It doesn't take that long, but then these people you see on the internet, that's years and years and years of work combined with steroid use.
Loads of steroids.
Then they'll go out and go, oh, I'm selling this program which will get you shredded within like the first month or something, which is then false advertising, all this other stuff. Kids then buy the program. They don't feel like that, you know, they're connecting with what it is they're selling, or they've been lied to. Then they feel like, you know, maybe they might stop going to the gym, or something bad might come of this, or even worse, sometimes because they're not cheap either. Some people out there, they're charging £10,000,
thousands of pounds.
Yeah, for a course.
Well, a lot of these, like, you know, YouTubers and influencers, they're being paid. They're not just doing this for free. Although a lot of these are being supported by sports brands on YouTube. I mean, people like Gymshark, for instance, who have been doing that for years, is getting influencers to start paying influencers and giving them branding stuff, and then obviously using that as a way to sell their product. And a lot of these people who are taking steroids are selling products under a brand name.
I think the issue with Gymshark, when they first started out, you know, making stringers or whatever, they want making tops for guys, so it's essentially them being topless so they can look as jacked as possible in the mirror, whatever. You know, it started out as like that, and then now and we see it in the media all the time in the past, like, I don't know, 3-4 years, where they've really sort of grown, and you know, they're about to overtake Nike.
About 1.5 billion net worth. It's one of the biggest growing British companies in the ever. It's
internationally, it's massive.
Incredibly impressive. I mean, incredibly shocking to see how they've done it and using it as a way of manipulating people, essentially.
Well, yeah, there's an element of manipulation there, but I think, well, where it's quite bad, and not just Gymshark, we want to say for any organisation out there that's doing this, it's just obviously Gymshark is in the public eye, so it's getting the most attention.
Everyone knows who Gymshark are.
You go to a gym and 80% of people going are
wearing Gymshark. Feels like everyone's got one, and they're always doing deals and stuff, and no matter where you go, somebody be wearing a Gymshark. With stringer vests so they can show their lats off or something like that. You know?
But then with Gymshark, it's not so much the clothing. That's great. The idea behind all that was fantastic. It's more when they get influencers, social media influencers, a load of money, and, you know, they essentially, what they're doing is they're getting these influencers who are taking steroids and they're hiding their steroid use, and then they're the types of people that are promoting their brand. So now immediately
their product.
Exactly. So when you're looking at Gymshark media and you're a consumer and you're on social media, on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and you see a Gymshark ad, and the guy's absolutely jacked out of his mind, or the lass looks...
See them at Arnold Expo when they were there, and there was about 30 bodybuilders and they're claiming to be natural, absolutely shredded, all wearing Gymshark stuff, and everyone's surrounding, crowding.
And the issue, I think, with that is Gymshark doesn't allow and again, other companies don't allow the people that work with the brand to come out clean about being natural. There have been so many cases out there.
You come out clean about being natural?
Yeah.
About being...
You can do about being natural. About being natural. About using steroids. About fake natural.
Fake naturals. They have to be claiming that they're clean.
So they have to lie to their audience. Hundreds of thousands of people. They're influencing
over YouTube and for social media altogether. It's been millions,
and they're growing their brand. They're building their business. They're making them more money
on a lie.
And I think, okay, there's a certain line you cross, right? And when it comes to the individual coming clean about their steroid use, and then Gymshark terminating their contract because of that, I think that's where
you cross the line.
Yeah,
there's one thing saying that. There's obviously one thing saying that, hey, you know, we don't support people who are taking steroids, and then there's another thing of them going, the minute that they've done it, they've just dropped them straight away.
Yeah.
It's this idea that's almost like they're trying to cover their backs, which they've said in the past that they haven't. They've done a lot of coming out, and they seem to be challenging it and doing something about it now. But unfortunately, the damage is already done.
Yeah.
It's been years that they've been doing this. It's not something that's new. There's many sports brands who do this all over.
Yeah.
And it reinforces this idea that whenever you see Gymshark and you see people, you assume that to be these, bodybuilders who are going to be absolutely massive. And if you wear Gymshark and if you train like these bodybuilders, you're going to be massive too. And unfortunately, that's just not the case.
It's not that.
I mean, if you eat well and you diet and you sleep and you train every day and you do it to your absolute max, you will achieve the results that you want.
Well,
It's just going to take longer. It's
just
like what I talked about in episode 1. It's determination. It's how much do you want it? How much are you willing to work towards it?
Exactly.
Steroids is this easy cheat, which does come at a deadly cost, unfortunately.
Exactly. It all comes around the lifestyle you want to live. Do you want to look absolutely shredded and put less work in?
Or do you want to be healthy?
Or do you want to be healthy, live a long life and look good? You know, the guy who hops on a cycle, you know, he might be training
for the customers, by the way, cycles are steroid cycles where they will take them at certain points of the year.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, on and off cycles. Sorry, yeah. But so these individuals that are on cycles, and then they come off, and then they claim natural, then they go and compete. This is where the issues lie, right? When they going into competitions where it's a natural competition, and they are so clearly not, but because they've not been on it for like 6 months or whatever before the competition. Doesn't show up in any of their blood work,
So
and
they
then
get away
and
with
they
it.
get away with it and win competitions. Now, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, see, that's the problem, isn't it? Because this has come out with the Olympics about the Russian squad in the past, and because it's saying that it ruined the GB Olympics because they were found out that they've got all these new anabolics, things that people don't even notice yet.
Yeah.
And then they're finding them and going like, hey, a lot of athletes are on them, and they've got this impression that it's giving them an edge.
Yeah.
It's like it's giving me an edge over the competition.
Well, yeah.
Cost, isn't it? It's not like how much are you willing to give
Yeah.
to be the best?
But let's
If
put
you're
it
willing
into
to
perspective,
sacrifice
yeah.
half of your life,
Yeah, or like the rest of your life. You know, the side effect. We won't talk about it massively, but some of the side effects are, you know, they
that aren't death.
Yeah, it's just risk of life is the biggest one. Then I think for these athletes, where maybe when they're in school, they're children, and their parents, you know, or teachers might go, this kid's got athletic potential, chuck them on track, get them into running, then they go into the Olympics. Their entire life now is built around this one thing that they're good at,
Being the best. That's the only
now
thing
it's about
you know.
being the best.
And what happens when you're not the best is
Exactly. And then what happens is, let's say maybe you had an off day and you lose a race or whatever it might be, or your training time was down or whatever, because this kid's doing track, right? Then what happens is the kid's like, I've got a race coming up in 3 months. My times are going down. Maybe today is fine. But over a course of time, he's eating good. He's training good. He's listening to his coach.
doesn't have,
And he just does. His competition is just a little bit.
slightly off, which is all it takes at that level, isn't it?
Yeah.
When the minute you're a little bit off or you slow down by just a bit, everyone starts to go, ooh.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when you're an athlete and when you've been doing, people who train for the Olympics or train for these kind of like massive competitions
Yeah.
have been doing it since they're kids. It's all they know.
Yeah.
And if they think that they're going to lose that, they'll obviously, it is cheap.
Not all of them, but some of them have turned to the use of illegal anabolic steroids.
Yeah. And it is cheating, and it is a risk if you're willing to take. You can't take it. But unfortunately, I think a lot of the issue with it is how generalized it is. There's social media and all these fake naturals coming out about it, and it's generalized steroid use. And now it's become to the point where, like, what was that statistic that you found the other day about how many steroid users in gym?
56% of males that go into the gym for weightlifting have been
on steroids, something like 10% of average gym goers are all on the steroids as well.
Around that, yeah.
Around that level. And you think 1 out of every 10 people who you see training in a gym to lifting weights is on steroids. And you can tell the people who are, because they don't look natural. It's as simple as that. You don't look right.
You could do a quick Google search of, you know, what they look like, and you can immediately see the symptoms of it.
Yeah.
There's so many. It's just, it's not good for anyone. And I mean, that's not us saying don't do steroids or do steroids or whatever. It's just, want you know, everyone here to gain some sort of understanding of what it is we're looking at and
why we're looking at it. Like, it's not just the people who are taking them. It's a lot of these influencers who were focusing around.
Yeah.
Who are portraying this.
But how can you,
idea.
as an again, I know we're pretty ethical, but there are people out there who, how can you build a following of people, you know, hundreds of thousands or if not millions of people, like you said before, who trust you and your brand, and they might be following you for years, watching you on your journey progress through the gym. And then like Alex Eubank, it's another social media influencer who hangs around with a couple called the Trend Twins.
I've
right?
heard of them.
I think like so many issues with body dysmorphia, and his fan base have all sort of stopped following. I mean, I don't watch him anymore because all he would do is talk about the way he looks, and he was so insecure and all this other stuff. And I don't like to look at social media influencers of what they're doing and stuff. But you could tell a lot of the fans were getting annoyed with it when he started talking about, oh, I might hop on a cycle soon, or joking about it, because these people follow you for the reason of you're a natural, you look really good, you're doing this thing, you know, it's you're inspiring fucking millions of people to get off their ass and do something, and then what you're doing is you're ruining all that by injecting this foreign crap into your body and lying to them and not telling them. I mean, that's the thing as well. They're
going to do it. Be open about it.
Yeah.
Almost. Don't lie. We're not saying obviously don't do steroids. If it's your choice to do it, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
But just don't. It's the lying.
Understanding the risks and the lying. I think it's what's.
And when you have the sway to be able to lie about it, when you've got millions of people looking at you, there's difference, like, you know, just lying to your family and lying to the people in the gym about it, going, oh no, I did all this naturally. And there's a difference having, you know, 2 million followers and saying the impact on that, especially to younger people who are wanting to start out on this journey and going, hey, naturally what you're going to do is go and look on YouTube. That's what our generation and younger generation does.
But that's it. And like YouTube, you go and information.
You go and have a look on YouTube. Everyone does it.
Yeah. Or they do a quick Google search. You end up on some, I don't know, WikiHow or some some random blog written by, I don't know, just some random guy.
People don't, the younger generation don't read blogs.
No.
I don't think they read online blogs anymore. It's most YouTube, it's Facebook, it's
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You know, you'll do quick YouTube. Oh,
well, on the web, so it must be true.
Workout routine. Yeah, let's do a 10-minute ab session. You'll be absolutely shredded.
Oh, those 15-minute abs, because that's how it does. If you do 10 sit-ups, right, 3 times a week, you'll get abs. It's not how it works.
Abs are made in the kitchen.
Yes, ladies and gents, you have to eat right as well as that. You don't just do some sit-ups. It's a lot of these lies, and it's a lot of things like that. That's false information, I find. Like, a lot of what people say online, there's so much contradictory behavior and like information that's going out there that there's just no idea. Like, ever since I started going to the gym, my Google results research just shows me like fitness research stuff now. My Google is really good at reading me for some reason, and it'll show me all this fitness stuff, and I'm reading some of it, going like, this is absolute crap.
Yeah,
there's just no way. And then the thing is, some of these are like renowned papers, like world journalists who are making these things, and they've been talking to bodybuilders while they've been doing it.
Yeah.
And you're looking at these bodybuilders, and they're all social media influencers who are talking to journalists, and they're making online posts just talking absolute crap.
And the thing is, as well, I think with a lot of influencers is you don't need an education to be an influencer. And I think where we draw the line,
I think it's a one that you don't have an education. It's
yeah. Sorry, you don't have.
If you've got an education, you can't be an influencer. That's the
that's the rules. But there's a lot of them out there, you know, with their courses, or you know, that some are open about their use of steroids, and you've got the fake naturals, and then you've got the ones that are going out and, you know, misspreading information, or, you know, just lying. And that's another thing as well. When we say about lying about the use of taking them, then you've got people who are on them, the Trend Twins. I know I've mentioned about it beforehand. Now, I don't really know too much. Don't want to say too much about different things, but there are sources out there where people will have these followings and all these people, and they might be open about their use of steroids, but they won't be open about the side effects, or they may, you know, they can sort of distort the truth a little bit.
A pinch of salt methodology. Methodology, isn't it? It's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's not as bad as it seems to be, or, you know, they go like, oh, well, it's been fine for them.
Yeah.
But for you, for instance, it could be damaging. You could hop
on the first cycle on incredibly low dose, and you could get some of the worst symptoms out there.
How do you know it's what it says it is? Like, when you go to a dealer, obviously, when you go to your local anabolic dealer, down the road, right? And you go there, and he goes in, and he goes, yeah, I've got HRT, and I've got Tren. And,
unfortunately, I wouldn't know.
And he opens his big duffel jacket, you know, his big flashes jacket, and it's got all of his drugs in his jacket, you know. And he goes, how do you know that it's actually Trenbolone? How do you know it's the chemical compound that is Tren?
You have trust, and that's all it is. It's going off trust.
Local drug dealers.
There have been some cases out there where, you know, people have gone out there and gone, oh, I'm going to buy some Trenbolone Ice or whatever it's called, and there's
lemonade.
Or that hot trend where you had, I think where they were injecting some sort of oil.
Ugh.
Have you seen that with the? There's a lot of Russian guys who are doing it, injecting oils and stuff into their biceps. And
does it just make it? Does it blow?
Yeah.
That sounds like the stupidest idea.
Oh yeah,
the stupidest.
This was years ago. This was a trend years ago. It was hilarious.
Oh mate, honestly, can you? You know what? I would love to find a photograph of them now.
I think a lot of them don't exist anymore.
A lot of them are dead, probably. Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't take photographs of dead.
Like
injecting foreign substances into your body. Can't imagine how, you know, that would, you know, impact your health.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is as well, you're going into the gym and you're going maybe to look good or for your health, or you've heard it's good for your mental health or whatever.
Just, by the way, ladies and gents, the best thing for your mental health.
It's incredibly amazing what happens to it the first month or so, but even the first week of training, it's crazy what happens. But I think if you remind yourself the reason why you started, if it's as a young guy, if you're going out to attract the opposite sex or whatever, that's great. You don't need steroids to achieve that. All you need is a good diet, do some research, go online, you know, not on YouTube.
Yeah.
Source your information.
Source your information from the right people, ladies and gents. It's one of those things. If you're looking, I use YouTube all the time, right? When I started off training, finding different things to use and finding different ways of doing your form, and there's a million different ones out there, and it's about looking for the right people, finding the right channels, and then really doing proper research into this. If you're going to do it, don't be looking at influencers all of these people who are claiming all of these things, it's about
be careful,
accuracy, and it's about study, and it's about getting things right, and it's about and it's about trying and failing. It's not people seem to be under this idea that because of they've seen influencers and how big they are, that they can go for a few months, and then all of a sudden they're just going to go bang, and you're going to be jacked. It's discipline, it's time, it's effort, and this realistic body type that you're going to get after, let's say, how long does it take? 5 years?
5 years or so.
5 years to reach a natural peak. And this natural peak, it's hard. You're going to have to work towards it. And you may not even get there.
Yeah. But that's if you even want to achieve it. Some people don't even want to achieve that. Some people just want to look good.
But anyone who's watching influencers and wanting to be like them is wanting to reach that peak, that sort of lift. And unfortunately, your natural peak isn't going to be what these bodybuilders are. I'm sorry, but it's just
the thing is, I think the world is so out of touch these days with what can be achieved naturally and what can't because of all this distorted information on the internet. I think
can't tell what's true and what's not.
Exactly.
There's so much crap out there at the minute that you've just got no idea. For somebody who has never really been involved with that world before, it's like sensory overload. It's like just getting hit with everything straight away and then just assuming. And you're gonna take what you know. And for the amount of people who are doing this, all these influencers and all these companies, it's to sell a product.
Yeah.
They're not doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. Yeah. They're doing it to make money from you. And that's where I take issue from it. It's not an innocent mistake. There's a cold, calculated decision, right?
Yeah.
To be able to make money off of you. Yeah. And that decision is hurting people. And it's destroying people's perception of what a true human form should look like.
Yeah.
And the problem is then people are working towards it and never getting there.
Yeah.
And they're never getting there to what they think that they should be getting to.
Yeah.
And then they're sitting there going, well, and the level of damage and the level of mental health issues and body dysmorphia that will then come from this because of it.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of the problems are going to
be. A lot of issues that can come from this. Yeah. Body dysmorphia, just other issues. Comparing yourself to these people. I don't know, I look that good. We've all been there, like, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're not happy with what you see, and then you see this guy on the internet who's like, oh, I've been doing this thing for a year, I'm natural, this is great, it's fantastic. And you're like, really?
Is it really though? And you're like, I would love to sit down and have a conversation with some of these influencers and just for somebody who's only been training for realistically 8 months now.
Yeah.
Right? From
seriously,
training for 8 months. I would love to sit down and just have a conversation about what they actually do in the gym. Of what do you actually do when you're not taking steroids, or you're not, putting things in your body, and when you're not just doing whatever you do, when you're actually in the gym, what are you doing? Because some of the videos from the training videos, shocking.
We can even look at Hollywood and their use of steroids and how it's been almost normalized these days for Hollywood actors to be on it. Let's look at Mark Wahlberg, for example. You do a quick YouTube search of Mark Wahlberg's workout routine or whatever, and you look at something like that, and then you look at the size of him, and then you think that can be achieved naturally, which he says it is. Which a lot of them say it is.
He says a lot of things.
Yeah. And there's other Hollywood actors out there that all do similar things, or their training's not right, or their diet's wrong, or whatever it might be. And it's like, you just sort of look at it, and it's how do you differentiate that as a beginner? How do you go, oh, what this guy's doing? Oh, look, he's got that body, but he's doing this. But the lifts he's doing are wrong. And he can. Then again, it promotes.
You don't know that when you first start, do you? You don't know what's wrong, what's wrong.
Injury and health issues and all these problems that can come, which once started as like a hobby or something that you wanted to do for fun or to get yourself out of the house, has now become this massive thing that you don't even know what you're doing is right.
Chore, sensory overload, and how many people do you know? I know quite a few people who have gym memberships and never go.
Yeah,
because they go in there, no idea what to do. They sort of get a bit freaked out by people, and then they're like, back. And then it's like, I've been paying for this gym for 6 months, and I've only went in once.
There's so many people.
And I think that sort of that whole fake natural, that contributes towards it, as going, if you're not seeing results straight away, you should just stop. And you're like, that's not true. The harder you work and the harder you invest,
this is the human
more
nature.
You're going to get out.
This is the thing. It's, as human beings, the quicker we can see a result in the thing we do,
the more enticed you're going to be.
The more you're going to want to do it again. So,
but the harder the things are, the more likely you are to get out of them.
That's it. And you'll find excuses to not do it, and we can talk about this on another episode. But let's keep it on topic with, going to the gym and being natural, not natural. Going to the gym for yourself is really important. I think all of this stuff where you have people taking trend, claiming they're natural, taking all sorts of other stuff. You just need to compare yourself to yourself. Try to not consume. I'm not going to say don't consume social media, but unfollow.
Apart from our social media, because
honestly, it's like a gift from God. But I think it's on a subconscious level, it's feeding this information into your subconscious mind without you even knowing it. You might look at it and be like, oh, they're big, or oh, they're big. And over time, it's just compounds. Yeah,
chemical. It's not.
Yeah. It's on a different level.
Sitting scroll.
These apps have been designed to feed on your dopamine sensors, right? So,
like TikTok only showing 8-second videos.
Yeah,
sure, very subtle videos.
You don't remember what the last video was that you watched, but you can sit there for hours.
I was just scrolling through, and all these influencers who are on TikTok doing all these videos, going, "Hey, look at me." Wearing like minimal clothes, showing this to young kids, right? This isn't not monetized. Sorry, this isn't controlled by anyone. So anyone of any age can look at this, see all these sports influencers, both male and female, see these unrealistic body types and think that is what I should be attracted to, and that is what I can become. And both of those things is where the issues are spurring.
I had an interesting interaction with a family friend of mine recently, and this individual is a child, right? And his way of looking at it is he came up to me, and I've been training now for nearly 2 years, and he's like, seriously, and he's come up to me and a few times, and he goes, oh, Gio, like, what do you think of this or whatever, and what this guy's doing, and he'll show me some TikTok video of some influencer out there doing some ridiculous movement, absolutely jacked out of his mind, eating nothing but protein, right, and going like giving out wrong nutrition advice, giving out wrong workout advice, and all this other stuff. And this guy, this is a child here, and this is like, should I be doing this? And it's scary that young people, especially that young, who are going, no, they can't, and they're going to the gym for their health, especially that young as well, maybe before they've gone through the cycle of puberty and they've developed properly, and they're going to go in,
that's
and then
the most dangerous time as well,
right? And then they're going to see, or they'll see influencers openly talking about tren or this or that or whatever, and now there's kids here like, I see this guy who's absolutely jacked, and the only way I can get that is if I jump on tren, as opposed to where it started out is, oh, this is a fun hobby, I'm going to look really good, and I'm going to have like a nice life where I look nice and I feel good about myself. Now all you can think about is
being the strongest and the biggest. How do I get there, and how do I do it? And also, it's the body types of other people as well. I mean, if you're consuming all of this social media that is presenting all of these, the other influencers who you may be attracted to, right? You're generally going to look at those body types, and you're going to be associating that gender with that body type and saying that, listen, if this is what everyone should look like, and again, these aren't natural.
Yeah, and it's
distorting your view of the concept of reality, of what a natural body and natural.
The thing is, well, it's the things that are shoved in front of young people's faces or whoever's face on social media is always the hot, the hot ones or the hot topic, or this is now what it should look like. And obviously the world is now moving in a direction where they think obesity is normalized. I'm just going to put it out there, guys. It's not. It's really not normal to be obese,
massive percentage.
And they've got like these health magazines. I'm not going to talk about that today. We'll talk about it another day.
Yeah, but that might be episode 3, ladies and gentlemen.
But it's just to end things. I think if you're going out and you're spending time on social media, just be careful with the information that you're consuming. Just every single bit of media that you are consuming, whether you think that they're the most trustworthy source in the world, like Dr. Mike, who is like God's gift.
Dr. Mike, by the way, ladies and gents, anything sport related, we always watch Dr. Mike. He's absolutely amazing for things.
He's got PhD in sports science.
He's through the roof, and he's one of the best people to look at. If you are looking for sports advice, he is definitely the way to go.
And my email. No, I'm joking.
But yeah, to end on things, guys, I would say,
I think that's it, really. I haven't really got much else to talk about it.
Try and do a little bit more research, guys. Try not to be caught in by the fugazi of social media. If you're researching one person that says one thing, have a look at everyone else.
Yeah.
Right? Don't just take the first thing that you're seeing, because the algorithms on YouTube are designed for you to be pushed and pumped this information. Yeah. So anything that is coming up to you, I felt like it's being pushed on you. For sports stuff, it's generally being pushed on you for a reason.
Get yourself in a gym.
That is self.
Get yourself a personal trainer. Like, work alongside someone who can track your progress or track your own progress. Someone who can help you on this journey. Talk to a friend. Talk to someone you can trust. And just do it for fun and do it for yourself. I think as well, just enjoy it, right? Because at the end of the day, you live once. Nothing really matters. Just freaking wow.
Nihilist. Gotta love the nihilistic view on the podcast. Yeah, that's just what you need.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it, yeah. You know? I mean, we go simply because we absolutely love it. It's one of those things. You get to meet new people. You get to meet people who are like-minded to you.
Yeah.
Even though we said, like, listen, there are a small, there's a small percentage of people that are doing steroids in every gym and yada, yada. But, right, for the most part, it's a really good way.
It's a very good environment. You'll find some very positive people. You will find some of the best people.
You'll find the best people to be around, really inspirational, and it's a great way of socializing. It's one of them things that you can go in and you can just say hello to people.
The benefits of it are insane.
The amount of people who, when I first started training, who come up to me, especially some of, like, the PTs at that gym, come up and go, here, what you're doing is really good, but why don't you try this? And they were giving me advice because they want to help you, they want to see you succeed. Now, normally they would be paying you for making you pay for stuff. But if they see somebody struggling, they will come up and help to make sure you don't injure yourself. And that is the
And don't be afraid to, if you're out there and you are a regular gym goer and you know a lot of this stuff already and you want to go and help people, just help them.
Just help people, man. Or even just ask people questions. If you see somebody doing something, very kindly ask, is there a reason for why you would be doing this, not this? It's the best thing to do, because if they don't have an answer...
We've done it. We've just gone into the gym before and we've seen someone do a movement we've not seen before. And I've asked them questions on it. Yeah.
And if they don't have an answer, there might be a really... for some reason, people might be doing certain things because of injury. There's a million different reasons for why people are doing different things. You should never maybe copy people, but asking questions. And learning is the best thing about bodybuilding.
And if someone gives you like a slobby response, then fine, just don't talk to them anymore.
Just tell them to get over themselves, get under the way.
I think that's going to be a wrap for episode 2. Now, if you enjoyed it, feel free to hit follow on whichever platform this is on. What we're on now, Spotify, Amazon.
We are currently just getting all of our platforms uploaded. Everything should be posted across all platforms very soon, guys, if you bear with us. And all the good stuff. We'll be posting weekly uploads.
Yeah.
And if you have any ideas or suggestions for anything that you'd like to see, email us at inthefaceof11@gmail.com.
Yeah, perfect. Or alternatively, you can go on our Instagram page and send us a DM. What is the name of the Instagram page, Alex?
In the Face of.
Just In the Face of. And
as well as our Facebook.
And our Facebook, yeah. And we've got a website as well. It's inthefaceof.com.
If you'd like to check out our website for all of our posts, it's www.inthefaceof.com. And that will have a link to Podbean so that you can subscribe to us and stay updated for every single post that we do.
Fantastic. On that note, guys, I hope you have a wonderful day. And, tune in for episode 3 next week.
Kushti. See you in a bit, guys.
Bye-bye.